We've got a really lovely start to this bonsai. Last video, in part one of this session, we uncovered and had a good look at everything around here, the start of the bonsai. Now we're going to move up to the next part around here. This next part, sorting out this bit, is going to be really important because what we've got to do is to blend the top of the tree in with the bottom, and by the bottom I mean the main trunk itself, because we've got some quite nice shapes and we've got this kind of lean to it, this kind of bit that comes out this way. Nothing out here obviously, but we can change that. We can grow branches. That's easy really, just takes a bit of time. But what I really want to do is to get this part up here working with down here so that they are telling the same story. Trees grow in certain ways because of the weather conditions or the environment in which they grow. And this one says something around here. Because of this kind of shape going on, it's got a little bit of twistiness going on. So I want the top of the tree to tell the same story. I don't want to just kind of bend it here and there and try to balance it out. I want to figure out what is going on here and how we can make the two work together. So what we're going to do, I'm going to spin this around a couple of times, and I want you to have a look, and I'm going to have a look as well. While it's turning, have a look for different curves and look at the way that they change as we change the angle around. So as we're turning it, the shapes will change, and we need to find a really nice shape, a nice overall flow that we can work with and evolve with. I won't say anything for the first bit, I just want you to watch, and then we'll do it again. That again, we're going to have a look all the way around again with a slight difference this time round. So here you can see that I have cut off the top of the tree. That way it makes it much easier just to focus on the main branches, the start of the main branches. And it's quite a distraction sometimes when you've got all of the big foliage, because what it tends to do is to draw your attention to that rather than the important part, which is the start of the main branches. This is the second part of the design. So what I do is break it down into kind of three parts. The first part of the design is around here. growing at the start of the bonsai. Then when I'm kind of happy with that, we can move on to the next part. Obviously it's still all growing and evolving, but I concentrate on this. Then we do the next part, the second part, which is what we're working on now. And by looking at all the different shapes, that will help us figure out the next part. And the third part really is the foliage, the little twigs, and that's what I call the icing on the cake. And all too often I see people really just focusing on the icing by getting the foliage pads nice and that, and it can still look lovely. But the inside kind of doesn't have that real character or flow. So that's what I do. Start here, then work on this bit here over the next few years. And what I'm doing is I'm setting up the foundations for the foliage pads, to laying them out so that the middle bit, the actual cake, is really lovely as well. And then by the time we get to the pads, well, that's just something amazing. After going through and looking at all the different options, all the different branch movements, etc., and if I keep coming back to the same overall shape and style that kind of mimics the trunk line and makes sense to me, that's when I start physically working on the bonsai. And it's not until I reach that stage, and it might take a few hours, it might take a few days, it might take a few years. Sometimes just think, well, I'll let it grow on a little bit more and evolve a little bit more. But when I think, yes, I can see where this tree is going, where this bonsai is going to end up, when I've got to that stage, then I can start actually physically working on the tree. Take care when you're wiring, especially with thick wire like this one. Try to avoid using the tree to bend the wire around. Instead, use either your fingers or some pliers to form the bends and then carefully place it on the tree. That way you avoid damaging the bark, or even worse, damaging the cambium layer which is beneath the bark.
Bags are packed, are you ready to go? This time tomorrow we'll be on the road, riding with you into sunnier days. I wouldn't want it any other way.
Taking great care not to squash or damage any of those little buds and shoots, because some of them we will need later on.
Home is with you wherever that may be.
It looks like a big green shaggy monster. That's great. Anyway, that's enough wiring for now. If there's any small wiring, finer wiring to do, and some pruning to do, we'll do that in the next part, in part 3. Well, that certainly looks different. And I know it looks strange, and it will look strange for quite a few years until new buds start to come out and form little twigs, and twigs form branches, etc., etc. And all those twigs and branches will now be flowing in the right direction and following the trunk flow, so that everything is moving that way, so that we can almost feel the wind that's shaped this trunk and this tree over many, many years. So there's a little bit more work to do now. There's some fine tuning to do on the branches, which we will do after we've repotted. So we're going to do all the root work now. We'll do that in part 3. So if you haven't already subscribed and you want to see that, then obviously subscribe and hit the notifications button. And we'll carry on with the next part. So for now, take care.